Hi, I'm Brenda Reese, freedom and forgiveness coach, and a person just like you that is learning to navigate life and all of its challenges. I teach a forgiveness process like no other. It's a blend of practical and spiritual forgiveness. This process guides you into knowing how unforgiveness can be keeping you stuck in your relationships, both personally and professionally, and how it prevents you from releasing resentment and finding joy. Each week, I share practical and some not so practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and other people that are on this journey just like us. This is for you if you are ready to turn your pain into peace. Welcome to the Forgive Yourself podcast. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Forgive Yourself podcast, where we explore healing, growth, and everyday ways that we can reclaim our worth. I'm Brenda Reese, forgiveness and grief coach, and I'm really happy to be here with you. Now, today's episode is going to be a little different in the best way. This isn't just an episode about information. It is an invitation. I'm going to be challenging you to something simple, powerful, and maybe even probably a little uncomfortable. I call it the No Sorry Challenge, and it just might change the way you see yourself and the way others respond to you. So we're talking about a habit so many of us carry, especially women. Now, there are men too, but especially women, that quietly undermines our confidence and presence. And that is unnecessary apologizing. Can you relate? So if you've ever caught yourself saying, sorry, can I just ask something? Or sorry to bother you, this episode is for you. We are going to talk a little bit about the roots of this habit, explore some powerful ways to shift it, and set you up to replace those reflexive apologies with clarity, confidence, and calm authority. Are you ready? Let's go from sorry to strong, shall we? Now, so let's talk about what is this No Sorry Challenge. It's simple. So for the next 24 hours, you commit to not saying sorry unless it's absolutely necessary. Like, if you've truly made a mistake or accidentally hurt someone, we've talked about that. There's a reason to say I'm sorry, and that's if I've done something wrong. Then I can say I'm sorry. Not just because I'm me. I don't need to apologize for that. Okay, so you're going to commit to not saying sorry unless it's absolutely necessary. And the rest of the time, you're going to catch yourself before you say it. We're going to pause. And we're going to find a more empowering, intentional way to speak. Now, we're going to talk about some ideas in just a minute about that. But this challenge is not about, I want to say this for, these, all of us recovering people pleasers. This challenge is not about being rude or pushing people away. It is about noticing how often you minimize yourself without realizing it. And it's all about giving yourself the chance to stand in your power instead. Okay, let's take a breath. Oh, I know. This is a habit, and it's not your fault. I'm going to repeat that. This habit of ours, of doing this, of apologizing for taking up space, it's not your fault. Many of us, especially women, I'm going to say that, have been conditioned to believe that being polite means shrinking, softening, or seeking permission. We apologize to keep the peace, to avoid being too much, or to make others feel more comfortable. But when we constantly say sorry for things that don't need an apology, we start to send ourselves and others a message, which is, I'm not sure I belong here. I'm not sure my voice matters. And that's just not true. So this challenge is about noticing where that conditioning shows up and rewriting it in real time. So let's get practical for a second. During the No Sorry Challenge, you might notice certain phrases pop up. Now, I'm going to mention a few. Now, we've talked about these before, some of them, but this is really worth repeating. Okay. Here are the most common and powerful alternatives, right, that you can use in the moment. So this is worth practicing. Instead of saying, sorry to bother you, but I want you to practice saying this instead. Excuse me, do you have a moment? See the difference? Or, I'd like to talk with you about something. Do you have a moment or a minute? Okay. Instead of using, I just wanted to say, okay. In here, it's the word just that we are wanting to change because just is a softener. There's a time and a place for it. But I want you to practice saying this instead. I want to say, or excuse me, I'd like to share, or just I'd like to share. Okay. Instead of saying, I hate to ask, but, right? You can hear the hesitancy. Instead say, could you help me with this? Blank. Or I need assistance with blank. Okay. And then instead of saying, sorry for taking your time. Oh my God, how many of us do that? So sorry for taking your time. Say, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Do you hear that? These little edits are going to probably feel awkward at first, but they're powerful. Over time, they will become second nature. So are you ready to take it one step deeper? Replacing words is great, but the real magic happens in your mindset. Okay. The word sorry often come from a belief that we need permission to speak, that we're being inconvenient by having needs or taking up space. Can you relate? Yeah. But here's the truth. You don't need permission. You are not a bother. Your voice, your questions, your presence belongs here. Take that in. You don't need permission. You're not a bother. Your voice, your questions, your presence belongs here. Confidence isn't about volume. It's about clarity. It's about knowing that you are worthy of being heard, no apologies needed. So as you take this challenge, remind yourself, I do not need to shrink to be seen. I can take up space with grace and power. And if you really want to anchor this new way of speaking, here are 2 simple practices you can use during the challenge. Okay. So on our 24-hour no sorry day, right, for one full day, we're going to catch every unnecessary sorry before it slips out if we can. And if we can't, we're just going to notice, right? But when you catch it, take a deep breath and say something different. Or even just pause. That is powerful. There's power in the pause. There's power in the pause. And we're going to have to pause to get used to not just blurting out sorry, because we're going to catch ourselves. No beating self up. Not at all. Not allowed to do that in this no sorry day. Okay, and number 2 is rewriting your words. So now we talked about speaking, but now we're going to talk about before you send your next email or text. I want you to kind of scan for those softening phrases like sorry to bother you or just checking in. Rewrite them with clear, direct language instead of saying, sorry to follow up, but I wanted to check on the status, or I wanted to just check on the status. Say, I'm following up to check on the status. See how simple? Now, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay because growth often is uncomfortable. but that's how we grow, right? Keep in mind, you're building a new muscle, one phrase at a time. So that's your invitation. Take the No Sorry Challenge Day. Practice speaking without apologizing for your existence, and let your words reflect your worth. And remember, it's not about perfection. This is about awareness. Every time you catch yourself and choose a more confident phrase, you are strengthening your voice. And as I share with my clients, you are also standing up for every part of you that wasn't able to stand up for themselves. That's powerful. You're building trust in yourself. You're moving from sorry to strong. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need to apologize for showing up as you are. Your voice, my friend, matters. You matter. And it's time the world hears your voice clearly and confidently. You've got this. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode lit something up in you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend who might be on their own sorry to strong journey. And if you're taking the challenge, let me know how it goes. Send me a message or an email. I want to cheer you on. Okay? Until next time, be kind to yourself, speak with confidence, and remember, you never needed permission to take up space. Take care. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, would you do me a favor and share this episode and then follow us on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss one episode of the Forgive Yourself podcast, where every Friday you will get tips, tools, and stories so that you can turn your pain into peace. Take care.